Hey everybody, welcome to 2024. Model railways are not expensive. You're just a poor person. So get off your ass and go get another 6 jobs. And maybe, just maybe, you can come and play with the big boys. Or go buy some second-hand model railway, some pre-owned. Let's call it pre-owned because second-hand makes it sound like it was handed down to you by your older brother and covered in some sort of weird brown stains. But no, you should go out and buy pre-owned. You don't deserve to get involved in new model railways. That seems to be some of the attitude that I get on some of the videos when I do a little bit of complaining here and there. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against expensive models. Expensive models are brilliant if they're hyper detailed and they cater to a certain audience. However, saying just buy pre-owned when the basic starter sets are 130 quid, a crappy looking plastic logo that doesn't even look like a real logo. It looks like some small child with one eye and an iron deficiency drew it with crayons, and then you're expected to pay 60 to 70 pound for that is absolutely insane, in my opinion. The biggest things, I'm not saying that manufacturers can't have, nice expensive logos with lots of detail, but you got to have or bring the prices down on the beginner stuff, the cheap stuff. Saying just buy pre-owned does not make a difference. If everybody is buying pre-owned and no one is buying the new stuff, then how are we going to have pre-owned in the future? That just doesn't make sense. It's not an answer to the argument. Not only do you see dwindling figures of people wanting to get involved, not just the youth. Obviously, train sets don't seem to be something that the kids are into. And if they are into, they can buy Train Sim. They get it instantly. They got an endless supply of logos. They can do it in their own time. They can play it on their Xbox. They don't have to buy an item at every single week. Or actually, it's not even going to be every week anymore, is it? If you want to buy yourself a logo at half about, even just 040, Smokey Joe's probably coming in somewhere around a 50 quid. And then you're going to be looking at £100 for something half decent. It's not attainable to people anymore. And as I say, the title of this video is just buy pre-owned. Well, pre-owned is going through the roof because they know how much the costs are on newer items. So everything seems to go up. When 5 years ago, I bought starter train sets, and they were great little sets, £50, £60, £100. 5 years ago is a while. I know COVID has happened, but the cheapest decent starter sets that aren't smeared in Coca-Cola or Christmas-based are £100, £130 plus. On eBay and other auction sites and Facebook Marketplace, people are asking that kind of money, or maybe 3/4 of that kind of money, for these same sets. So there isn't any bonuses to buying used pre-owned items. And don't get me wrong, yes, you'll come across the odd bargain, but as soon as everybody else comes across it, they're all going to be bidding, and it just runs away. I was looking earlier, there was an 08 shunter, and 08 shunters have always been sort of crazy. People seem to buy silly amounts of them for stupid amounts of money. And I'm watching this, and it's really old, battered packaging. It says runs okay. We don't know what that means. It could turn up, and it may be okay, but who knows? And it started out at £20, it went to £30, it went to £40, went to £50. After 50, why am I going to be buying some second-hand 10-year-old loco on the hopes that it runs well? And while you can go to train shows, locomotive model shows, and buy from those, and there will be the odd deal, it doesn't help with the broader picture. Sometimes in life, when you as a hobby, or you want to get involved in a hobby, it's nice to be able to treat yourself to something new. But if nobody can afford to get in on the ladder with a new product, and they're all buying second hand, the new market is either going to get incredibly high compared to what it is now, and it's pretty high now, or there's just going to be this massive shortage of second hand. However, if we keep going at the rate that we're going, where less people can get into the hobby, not just youngsters because they don't seem to care, but people maybe who had a train set when they were little, they grew up, maybe they haven't got a big enough house, maybe they've got a little bit more space than they used to, maybe they retired, and even those people are struggling to get involved in it. If it costs you to get a new starter set, which is, let's be honest, let's use, for example, a Hornby starter set 040, and it's not Coca-Cola or Santa's Express. Let's say it's, I don't know, one I bought recently, which was, Christ, I've forgotten the name of it now. I'll put a picture up anyway. It was £109. The retail was £130. £109. You go out, you buy yourself the board to put it on. You're going to have basically a circle of third radius oval with a logo going round and round and round. Right? By the time your expenses are all in, that's going to set you back. Let's just say it's with the wood or whatever, 130 quid. You just spent £130 out of your monthly wages, and that's all you've got.
I've got nothing left. I've got nothing left.
Wagons, unless you buy Dapple, which, you know, are okay. But even they've gone up in a fair sort of price. If you buy Dapple, you got a chance. But you buy any other brand, you're talking anything from 20, 30, 40, 50 pound for just one wagon. If you imagine £200 seems like a lot of money. You can do a surprising amount with £200. But if you were to go today with £200 and buy new, you're not going to get hardly anything. If you go with £200 and you're going to buy used, and that you obviously need to start set controller track just to get you going, you're not going to get much more. The sad reality is you aren't going to get much more. So the attitude of, oh, we'll just buy used, or if you can't afford to buy used, then you don't get to come and play with us. That's not how it should be. You know, and I go on about this all the time. Over Christmas and New Year's, Hornby put down their iTraveller train set to $79.95, which is the app-controlled one. That is fair. That is a fair price. Keep that set whilst it's in stock at that price. And I'm not just saying Hornby here, because at least Hornby have got some sort of sets. Bachmann's 00 gauge sets are insanely priced. But that set, if Hornby could just keep that set, that gives somebody the chance to attain a nice fresh set. To be able to go out there, save maybe 2 months' wages to be able to afford an £80 train set. And I know people will scoff at that and go, oh, it's only 80 quid. But 80 quid's a lot of money at the moment with gas, electric and everything that's going on. So if Hornby could keep it at that price, which I'm sure they won't, it'll go back up to 130, 140, 150, depending on where you buy it. But if they can do that now with that set, and it comes with points, siding, buffers, you know, that's such a good set to get people involved. Even if you just go back to a standard controller, that's fine. Because not everybody wants to use the apps on their phone. And half the time the software isn't updated, as some of my subscribers have informed me. I would think it's more than fair. £80 for a start set with everything you need. You've got siding, so you can do a bit of shunting. You can enjoy yourself with that. That's fair. I just don't understand how we're getting to a point where a brand new train set, like there's the Preowned set that you see in this video now. It's a first radius set. Great. I'm all for a first radius set. But it's 130 quid. Sorry, I lie. If you buy it from, it's 138 quid if you buy it from retailers. But if you buy it direct from Hornby, which, why would you? It's 158 quid. For first radius with 2 straights, and that's all you're going to get. By the time you stick on, I don't know, a packet of trees and some ballast, that's £200. It doesn't take a miracle or for you to sit down, for all the people who say, oh, well, you know, if you can't afford it, don't get involved. And it's not that expensive, you just can't afford it, or just buy second hand. It's not going to get you anywhere. You're not going to be able to get, and we're not talking, as somebody said on one of my videos, oh, everybody wants a massive, amazing layout for pennies. No. People at least deserve, in a decent budget, I personally think that you deserve to at least get a train set with points, basic rolling stock, and maybe be able to treat yourself to a signal box or something else for £100 or less. It doesn't matter to me. Use old tooling. use plastic single box. I'm not talking for resin models. That's what needs to be done. Or before long, this hobby, as we see it's declining, Wally is no longer going to be a thing, which I haven't made a video on because I've never been, so it's not my area of expertise. Hattons is going. If Hattons can't make it work, who knows how other people are going to make it work. It's a tough environment to be in. There's a bit of a mix in, at the moment with things going on. But we got a dwindling base of people who want to get involved in it. The basic coming in price, the basic starter price and everything is far too high. I'm not on about well-detailed models, with lights and smoke boxes and beautiful like resin models like houses and this and that. Yeah, that's fine. People should have to pay for those models. If they cost a lot of money to make and a lot of time, a lot of our research and design, the R&D is where the money is. That's where most of it's spent. That's fine. But when you're talking at models that have been going like 100 years, 70 years, 50 years on the same mold over and over, get the people involved. It's your casuals who keep these hobbies going. It's not the people who consider themselves experts or pros or do YouTube full time or whatever it is. And it doesn't matter what the example is. It's the casuals that keep things going. Whether you're talking about cars, for example, and I've said this in loads of videos, in order for a Ferrari to make the cars that they do, the Fiat group has to sell Fiat 500s. They've got to sell them by the bucket load to keep the companies afloat. Most expensive items don't keep companies afloat because there is no return on them as such. And it's the casual person who thinks, do you know what? I think I'll buy myself a train set. I've always wanted to try it. You need that person to come in, and then you've got half a chance of them buying more stuff after. And again, back to just buy pre-owned. Yes, a lot of people will buy pre-owned, but some people will get involved in it. If they can buy themselves a fresh new set to get them started, or a beautiful loco now, or not beautiful, but a half decent loco now and again, they'll buy other stuff pre-owned. And thus, when the casual has had enough and sells up, you have more pre-owned. But if nobody can get involved in it because it's too expensive, it's just not going to happen. And so when you see these pathetic comments, which they are, just buy pre-owned if you can't afford it, if you can't do this, if you can't do that. But it's not going to fix any of the problem. And I've said this before, even if you've got one set or one item or one range that's a bit of a loss leader, you make pennies on it, whatever, that's going to get more casuals in. In turn, more casuals come in, they're more likely to buy the odd item second hand, they might treat themselves to a nicer loco, they might go to a show, and in turn, obviously the hobby can get bigger. I don't know if this is a worldwide problem, I'm just speaking from the UK, from someone who is new to this within the last 5 years. I buy a lot of items, so it's not like I don't know what I'm talking about. I've bought a lot of train sets, and only time I ever feel that they're worth the money is when they've been discounted somewhat. So when they come out, take the Red Rover train set, it was £189. At the moment it's trending around about the £130 mark. I paid £119 for it. It had a class 67, I believe, if I remember rightly. Some decent rolling stock points, the loco had working headlights and stuff. And even some people thought that was too expensive at £119, but I thought it was, more than fair. And I bought my more than fair share of second-hand items. And back in the day, I could buy super cheap items, lots of them. Now when I look, I think, well, we're so close to buying new, I might as well just buy goddamn new. And I don't earn loads of money either. I'm lucky that I can buy the things that I do want to at a push. But I just wish that there was less of an attitude about it if you can't afford it. It just drives me nuts. Or just buy pre-owned. Buy pre-owned. Everything's buy pre-owned. And that's great for some things. But like I say, and I'm repeating myself over and over because it drives me sort of nuts recently, pre-owned is not always going to be the answer, is it? There's only a certain amount of pre-owned that's going to exist. And if everybody is forced to buy the pre-owned, then there isn't going to be anything for people to buy. It just won't be. All the prices just get exorbitant, and in the end you have this massive crash where there's nothing for pre-owned, new items are too expensive, and the decline just keeps going in this hobby. And it is on decline, let's be honest. No amount of Francis Bourgeois clones are going to make this any better. Kids just aren't interested. But maybe, just maybe, the parents or someone in the family who knows their kids kind of like that sort of thing will think, oh, that train set's not too bad, or maybe I'll buy that for him. And then, you know, maybe grandmother or granddad will say, oh, I'll buy him a little loco to go with it. You know, let's be honest, if used is all you can afford and used is cheap, that's fine, but it isn't cheap anymore, is it? It's crazy. And so, some people have asked me if I want to see some of the posting online about people saying, well, you know, if you can't afford a Ferrari, you shouldn't have a Ferrari. Yeah, well, that's all great. But you don't have to have a Ferrari to get a car. There's plenty of options for cars. The pre-owned market is massive. Everyone and anyone near enough can afford to get a car. Within reason. And if not, there's other modes of transport. So it's just a dumb thing to say. A really dumb thing to say. But there we are. I think that's just the way it's going to be. I don't think it's going to get any better price-wise. And hopefully somebody will just turn around and go, do you know what? Maybe a new company will come out and make some cheap stuff to get people started. Because my opinion, as beautiful as some of these models are, Rapido and Sonic and all these things, there is a point where you just don't need any more high-end companies. We need someone to come in for the people, you know, a little bit of a blue-collar type thing, like back in the day when Ford were producing fast hatchbacks and, you know, the Escort Cosworth and Sierra Cosworth and the Fiesta and Capri and all these cars for the working man, and they were affordable, and I think that's what people need going forward. You know, especially now, you know, I've got friends with amazing jobs and they're still skint, and that's just for the cost of life, of living. So, you know, there we are. I'm sure some people will have some comments on this. Well, I went to a train show the other week and there was a train set for 30 pence and a bag of strawberries. Yeah, great. But there ain't 500 of those, is there? So yeah, that's me done for a minute, and have a good day, everybody. I will, honestly. I was supposed to get a review out before this, but I thought, do you know what? This video just needs to come out.